Marilyn Hickey passed away on Saturday, April 25, 2026, and the world of faith that she helped shape for 6 decades stopped everything to grieve. It didn't begin with an announcement. It began with a feeling, the kind that spreads quietly before the news is even confirmed. And when people finally realized that Marilyn Hickey was being remembered across churches, communities, and online spaces, one question rose above everything else. What really happened? Because this wasn't just about a passing. It was about a life that had touched millions, and a legacy that refused to fade quietly. The first tributes didn't come from headlines. They came from people. Longtime followers, church members, and individuals who had spent years watching her teachings began sharing memories. Not dramatic stories, but personal ones. Moments where her words had offered guidance, clarity, or comfort during difficult times. And that's where the tone was set. This wasn't just mourning. It was reflection. But that's not the whole story. As the news spread, attention quickly shifted toward understanding the circumstances surrounding her passing. Questions about her health, her final days, and ultimately her cause of death began circulating. However, what made this situation different was the lack of immediate, detailed confirmation. Sources close to her described her passing as peaceful, quiet, consistent with the way she carried herself in later years. There were no sudden controversies, no dramatic incidents, just a gradual stepping back from public appearances over time, which many now believe may have been connected to age-related health challenges. And while no official cause of death has been publicly detailed in full clarity, the narrative being shared points toward natural causes. But here, where things take a deeper turn, because focusing only on how she passed almost misses the bigger picture of how she lived. Marilyn Hickey built her life around faith, teaching, and connection. For decades, she remained a recognizable voice in Christian broadcasting, reaching audiences far beyond a single congregation. Her work wasn't limited to one place. It extended globally, touching people from different backgrounds and cultures. And that kind of reach doesn't happen by accident. It happens through consistency, through belief, through years of showing up with a message people feel they need to hear. Those who worked closely with her often describe her as disciplined and deeply committed, not someone driven by attention, but by purpose. Her teachings focused on faith, resilience, and understanding Scripture in a way that felt accessible to everyday life. And that's what made her different. She didn't just speak to audiences. She connected with them. As tributes continued to pour in, one theme kept appearing again and again: impact. Not in numbers, but in individuals. People describing how her words helped them navigate personal struggles, how her messages brought clarity in confusing moments, how her presence, even through a screen, felt personal. And that kind of legacy is hard to measure, but impossible to ignore. Behind the scenes, those close to her describe her later years as more reflective. She wasn't chasing expansion or visibility. Instead, she focused on maintaining what she had built, nurturing close relationships, and continuing her mission in a quieter, more grounded way. That shift is important because it shows intention, a transition from public presence to personal peace. And maybe that's exactly how she wanted it. As discussions about her passing continue, many are choosing not to focus solely on the unknown details of her cause of death. Instead, they're focusing on what remains: her teachings, her influence, her voice. Because in the end, that's what outlasts everything else. There's also something interesting about the way her legacy is being carried forward. It's not through dramatic tributes or large public events. It's happening through smaller, more meaningful acts, people revisiting her messages, sharing her teachings, and applying the lessons she emphasized throughout her life. And that speaks to something deeper. Because true legacy doesn't rely on attention. It continues quietly, steadily, through the people it touched. As time passes, more details may emerge. More clarity may come regarding the exact circumstances of her passing. But even without that, one thing is already clear. Her story is not defined by how it ended. It's defined by how it impacted others along the way. And that's what makes this moment feel different. Because while the world often focuses on endings, this feels more like a continuation. A reminder that influence doesn't stop. It evolves. It spreads. It lives on in ways that aren't always visible, but are always present. So while questions about her cause of death may remain part of the conversation, they are not the center of it. The center is her life, her message, and the quiet, lasting effect she had on so many people. Because in the end, that's what truly defines a legacy.